You've been fed stories your whole life. Stories about women, that they're kind, soft, gentle, that they love purely, that if you're good, one of them will come into your life like a gift, fix your pain, and complete your world. Maybe you've believed these things without ever really questioning them. But what if those stories were never true? What if they were comforting lies passed down from one man to another because the truth was just too hard to face? Over 100 years ago, the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche saw through all this. He didn't speak in fairy tales. He believed in looking at the world as it really is, no matter how ugly or uncomfortable the truth might be. He saw that many men weren't really in love with women. They were in love with the idea of women. The fantasy, the illusion, and worse, that men needed this illusion. Without it, they'd have to face something scarier, themselves. Since you were a kid, you were told things like, one day, the right girl will come along, that she'll love you unconditionally, fix you, make you whole. But Nietzsche said men lie to themselves when they believe that. It's not that women are evil. It's that men are scared. Scared to admit that the love they want so badly is usually not about the woman at all. It's about themselves, about filling a hole they don't know how to face on their own. When a man says he loves a woman, often what he means is, I love how she makes me feel. She makes him feel wanted, respected, important. That's not love. That's validation. And women know it, whether they say it or not. Nietzsche didn't hate women. He hated the way men talked about them, like they were either angels or monsters. That's not real. Women are human beings with their own strengths, flaws, and strategies. But when men put them on a pedestal, they set themselves up for heartbreak. Because pedestals always crack. Why does it hurt so much when a woman leaves you? Why does her rejection feel like a personal failure? Because you made her your mirror. Her opinion of you became your opinion of yourself. When she walked away, it wasn't just her you lost. It was your sense of worth. You let someone else hold the key to your identity. Nietzsche once wrote, when you gaze long into the abyss also gazes into you. Most men never face the abyss inside themselves. Instead, they spend their lives looking for their reflection in a woman's eyes. But that doesn't bring truth. It brings delusion. Here's the raw truth. Women are not your emotional crutch. They are not your finish line. They are not here to save you. They've had to play a different game, one that's older than society itself. A game of survival, influence, and power, played in silence and subtlety. While men were busy building cities and fighting wars, women were learning how to survive in systems where they had less control. So they got smarter emotionally. They learned how to read moods, how to sense weakness, how to win influence without force. This isn't evil. It's survival. It's adaptation. But most men still don't see it. You think you're in control because you pay for dinner or because she says, I need you. But needing someone isn't surrender, it's strategy. And most men are too wrapped up in their fantasy to realize they're not leading. They're following a script written long ago. Let's be clear. The average man today doesn't fall in love with a woman. He falls in love with how she makes him feel. Desired. Special. Enough. But that's not love. That's emotional addiction. And like any addict, you'll do whatever it takes to keep the feeling. You'll ignore red flags. You'll lower your standards. You'll call it loyalty, but it's really dependency. Nietzsche saw this pattern. He said the desire to be loved is the most arrogant thing a person can feel, because it assumes someone else should give you the emotional fulfillment you won't give yourself. So why do we fall for it? Because it feels good. Being chosen feels like a win. But what if she isn't your prize? What if she's your test? A test that most men fail, not because women are cruel, but because men expect her to be something she never agreed to be. Let's kill another lie, the idea that women are innocent, pure, soft by default. That look of vulnerability, that gentle tone, it's not always weakness. Nietzsche believed it was strength in disguise. Women don't conquer by force. They conquer by invitation. They create space for you to move, and by doing so, they steer the whole interaction. Who really controls intimacy? Who decides when and how the relationship deepens? Who can break your heart with one glance? You think she's emotional. But what if she's tactical? What if empathy is her radar, not her weakness? Empathy helps her understand what you want, what you fear, and how to respond to shape the outcome. She knows how to make you feel like a hero or like a failure with just a word. Not because she's manipulative by nature, but because emotional intelligence has always been her survival tool. Nietzsche once wrote, "In revenge and in love, woman is more barbaric than man." That doesn't mean she's bad. It means she's honest about the stakes. She knows this is a game of power, and she plays it well. And you? You thought giving her everything would earn her love. But giving isn't the same as connecting. When you base your worth on how she reacts to you, you've already lost. You've become predictable, and predictability kills desire. The idea that love should be constant, gentle, and fair is nice, but it's not how people work. Especially not when we're shaped by instincts, biology, and evolution. Nietzsche even said, "Everything about woman is a solution to the problem of appearing weak while actually being strong." Think about that. The appearance of surrender is sometimes just strategy. When a woman goes silent, pulls away, or shows jealousy, most men panic. They chase. They explain. They beg. But that's the test, and they fail it. The man who stays calm, who doesn't react emotionally, who holds his ground. He passes, not by being cold, but by being centered. Modern men struggle with this because they were raised on stories about love being a reward for being nice. But love isn't a reward. It's a choice. And neediness is the fastest way to lose it. Real attraction comes from strength, not physical strength, but inner strength. A man who doesn't need her approval, but respects her humanity. A man who doesn't fear losing her because he never lost himself. And here's the harshest truth. Most men were taught that equality means sameness. That men and women are emotionally, mentally, and instinctively the same. But that's not true. Men and women are different, not better or worse, just shaped by different challenges over time. Women don't want men who act like them. They want men who complement them. It's not about control, it's about polarity. The dance between masculine and feminine energy. When that polarity disappears, so does desire. So many relationships today feel flat and lifeless because they're built on comfort, not tension, on similarity, not contrast. When a man gives up his core identity to please a woman, he doesn't get more love, he gets less respect. When Nietzsche warned about soft men and hard truths, he was warning us about now. About how civilization has made men emotionally weak while women have gotten sharper and more instinctual. Women today still read people better. They still detect insecurity in seconds. They still sense when a man is desperate for validation. And they don't always do it consciously. It's instinct. It's survival. And it's very, very effective. Every interaction in love carries an unspoken negotiation. When she asks what you're thinking, it's not just curiosity, it's a test. When she pulls back after a fight, it's not always anger, it's power. Nietzsche saw that women understand scarcity better than anyone. Their attention is the commodity, and the price, your autonomy if you're not careful. So where does this leave you? It leaves you with a choice. You can keep believing the fairy tales, hoping for that perfect woman to heal you. Or you can wake up. You can stop seeing women as your salvation and start seeing them as real people, complex, strategic, emotional, and powerful in ways society never explained. This isn't about hating women. It's about seeing clearly. And once you do, you stop being controlled. You stop reacting. You start living with purpose, centered, self-aware, free. Because the only love worth having is the one you don't need to survive. Long ago, Nietzsche warned that when men start chasing comfort instead of strength, they lose their edge. And in relationships, that edge matters. Women, in general, don't respond to men who just try to play it safe. What really draws the feminine energy isn't comfort, it's strength. But not the kind of strength that bullies or dominates. It's quiet strength, confidence without arrogance, a solid presence that gives space, not pressure. This is a narrow path, a razor's edge. Most men never learn to walk it. Here's the truth most of us were never taught growing up. You can't win a woman's respect once and think it's done. Respect isn't a trophy you hang on the shelf. It has to be earned again and again, not by doing something dramatic, but by being consistent and real. A woman doesn't want words. She wants to feel your presence, your steadiness, your truth. When you stop trying so hard to impress her and start standing firm in who you are, something shifts. You stop performing and start becoming the kind of man who is naturally attractive, not because he's trying, but because he's living fully. Real strength isn't about control over others. It's about control over yourself. The sad part about modern relationships is that many men are looking for someone to complete them. They're carrying emotional holes, expecting a woman to fill them. That's not love, that's neediness. And it leads straight to dysfunction. Real love happens when two whole people choose each other, not because they're broken, but because they want to grow together. Nietzsche once said that the reason most marriages fail isn't because love disappears, it's because friendship does. But he didn't mean the kind of friendship that's soft and cozy. He meant deep respect between two strong people who choose each other every day, not out of habit or desperation, but out of desire. Then there's the nice guy problem. A lot of men think being nice is the answer. But often, they're not being kind, they're being strategic. They give affection, attention, and effort like it's an investment, hoping for something in return. That's not generosity, it's manipulation. And women feel it, even when they can't explain it. There's always a hidden, "you owe me," underneath. That's why real kindness attracts, but fake niceness always ends in frustration. Modern dating is in a crisis because men have lost their way. Many fall into one of three traps. Some act tough and controlling, mistaking power for force. Others become passive and apologetic, thinking kindness means weakness. And some become a mix of both, manipulative, resentful, and confused. But there's a better way. Be the man who's strong and soft. Be firm, but kind. Be gentle, but don't bend your spine. Lead without controlling. Love without losing yourself. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become yourself, fully. Women aren't looking for perfect men. They're drawn to real men, flawed, honest, but always trying to grow. Too many men wear masks. They fake confidence, or they play the victim. They try to act alpha, or they become overly nice and submissive. But both approaches are fake. Women sense the disconnect. They might not say it outright, but they feel it, and it pushes them away. Nietzsche called this living beneath yourself. It's when a man ignores his true potential and tries to survive instead of thrive. What truly attracts a woman is when a man is alive, when his actions match his words, when he says one thing and then you watch him live it. That kind of congruence is magnetic. It's rare. It's real. It's what most dating advice completely misses. You can't fake being grounded. You either are or you're not. That's why the fake it till you make it approach fails in the long run. Women are wired to detect the truth. If who you are on the outside doesn't match who you are inside, she'll feel it and the attraction will fade. So, what's the answer? Stop focusing on getting women. Start focusing on mastering yourself. Stop trying to impress her. Become the man who doesn't need to. When you focus on your growth, your mission, your purpose, women become naturally drawn to you. Not because of some trick or line, but because you're living with passion. You're becoming something bigger. And here's the irony. The more you chase her approval, the less she respects you. It's not that she's cruel, it's just human nature. We only value what we earn, not what throws itself at us. Ever notice how the men who don't seem desperate for love often get it without trying? It's not a game. It's because they're living for something more than romance. They have missions, dreams, purpose. That's what makes them magnetic. Unfortunately, most men figure this out too late. After years of chasing women, trying to say the right thing, or molding themselves into what they think she wants, they realize they become a shadow of who they used to be. Enzi once wrote, "No one can build the bridge for you. You have to cross the river of life yourself. No one's coming to save you. You have to become someone strong enough to walk your path alone." Women don't fall in love with scripts or lines. They fall in love with depth, with men who have substance. Builders, creators, artists, leaders. Not because they studied pickup, but because they were too focused on creating to care about approval. Real intimacy starts when you stop trying to win someone and start being someone worth choosing. One of the biggest lies today is that love should be easy. That if it's hard, something's wrong. But that's backwards. Real love is built in the hard places through growth, challenge, and sacrifice. It's not about comfort. It's about meaning. Women don't want easy. They want deep. They want a partner who expands their world, not someone who shrinks into it. A lot of men also misunderstand vulnerability. They think it means oversharing or emotional dumping. But true vulnerability is strength. It's being able to sit with your feelings without running from them or needing someone else to fix them. The strongest men aren't loud. They're calm, present. They don't need to prove themselves. They're already rooted.